Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everybody. Today, we're going to be looking at elite baseball development. Like what turns a good young player into a phenomenal one.
Right, yeah. Like, how do these kids end up, getting drafted or landing those big college scholarships?
Exactly. We've been diving into a ton of research on this, articles, studies, interviews, all the latest stuff as of, let me check the date, March 30th, 2025.
A lot has changed even in the last couple years.
Oh, for sure. And that's what we really want to uncover today. Like, what are the secrets? What's actually going on behind the scenes in these elite programs?
The tech, the coaching, all of it. It's wild.
And we'll be sharing some pretty surprising things we found along the way. Like the tech these kids are using now is just, it's straight out of a sci-fi movie.
No kidding.
But okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So first things first, what exactly is elite baseball development?
Well, it's more than just, playing Little League on the weekends.
Right, way more. We're talking about these intense training programs designed specifically for kids, teenagers mostly, who have serious talent.
Yeah, natural ability for sure, but also like a real drive, that dedication.
That's key. It's not just about potential. It's about the work ethic, the commitment. And these programs usually target players, between 8 and 18 years old?
Yeah, those are kind of the prime years, you could say. But some programs do work with older guys too, and maybe they're looking to make a late push for college or something.
Okay, so the age range can vary, but what about the end goal? What are these programs ultimately aiming for?
Well, it boils down to maximizing potential, right? For a lot of these kids, the dream is a college scholarship.
Yeah, a full ride to play ball at a great school.
Right. And for some, the ultimate goal is the MLB draft.
To hear their name called Go Pro. That's the dream, right?
It is for a lot of them, yeah.
Now, to get there, to reach those goals, there are certain key elements that these elite programs have in common. Let's start with coaching. What kind of coaching are we talking about here?
This is specialized coaching, like way beyond your average high school coach. We're talking guys who've been there, done that.
Former pros.
Exactly. Former pros, college coaches, people with deep, deep expertise in very specific skills.
So not just a general coach, but a pitching specialist, a hitting guru.
Yep. You might have a former MLB closer working with a young pitcher on, their slider or their mental game, or a college hitting coach breaking down a hitter's swing, frame by frame.
Wow, that's incredibly specialized. And are they using advanced methods too?
Oh yeah, big time. They're using all sorts of tech, like biomechanical analysis.
Biomechanical analysis. Now that sounds complicated. Break that down for us.
Well, imagine filming a player with a super slow motion camera, right?
Yeah.
And then using software to analyze every tiny movement, every angle, every force they're generating.
Really breaking down the mechanics of their swing or their pitching motion.
Exactly. So the coach might see, for example, that a pitcher's hip rotation is a little off, just slightly.
And that can make a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. A tiny adjustment could add miles per hour to their fastball.
Wow. Or maybe prevent an injury down the line.
Exactly. It's not just eyeballing it anymore. It's about hard data and precise adjustments.
It's amazing what they could do with technology now.
It really is.
Okay, so we've got expert coaches using cutting-edge techniques. What about the training facilities? Are these kids just practicing on a dusty old field somewhere?
No way. These elite programs often have state-of-the-art facilities, indoor and outdoor.
Wow. So they can train year-round no matter the weather.
Yep. You'll see multiple batting cages with all sorts of tech, perfectly maintained pitching mounds, the whole 9 yards.
And I'm guessing technology plays a big role here too.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about hitting balls anymore. It's about data-driven improvement.
So it's like a lab almost as much as it is a training ground.
That's a good way to put it.
What kind of tech are we talking about specifically? What are they using?
Well, for one, they have these high-speed cameras that can record every swing, every pitch in crazy detail, slow it down frame by frame.
And then analyze every little movement.
Right. And they use radar guns to measure everything.
Everything?
Pretty much. Like the speed of a pitch, the spin rate, the velocity of the ball off the bat, all kinds of data points.
Okay, so tons of data. But what do they actually do with all this information?
Well, it's all about refining technique, making precise adjustments. Like knowing a hitter's optimal launch angle can help them hit for more power.
So they can literally see, okay, this is the angle you need to hit the ball. to send it over the fence.
Exactly. Or a pitcher can see that, if they increase the spin rate on their curveball by, say, 100 RPMs, it'll break much more sharply.
So it takes the guesswork out of it. You can literally see what you need to change to get better.
Yeah, it's like having a cheat code for baseball.
It's amazing. Now let's talk about the physical side of things. I mean, baseball is a demanding sport. What kind of physical training are these kids doing?
They're doing it all. Strength training, speed and agility drills, weightlifting programs, sprint work, you name it.
It sounds intense.
It is, but it's all designed to build the athleticism they need to perform at the highest level.
And I've heard that arm care is a big focus, especially for pitchers.
Oh, yeah. Huge focus. Pitchers put a lot of stress on their arms, so preventing injuries is critical.
So what kind of arm care routines are we talking about?
Well, they do a lot of strengthening exercises, mobility work, and they're very careful about, not overusing their arms.
So it's a combination of building strength and making sure they don't get injured, right?
Exactly. And they're using a lot of the latest research from groups like Driveline Baseball. They're really at the forefront of arm care.
It's great to see that they're taking that seriously. Now, we've talked a lot about the physical and technical aspects, but baseball is also a very mental game, right?
Totally. Mental toughness can be the difference maker, especially in those high-pressure situations.
Right, like when the game is on the line. So how do these elite programs address the mental side of the game?
Well, they might have workshops on mental skills like focus and visualization.
So like learning how to block out distractions, how to imagine yourself succeeding.
Exactly. And they often have coaches or mentors who can help players deal with, the pressure and the ups and downs of the game.
Because baseball is a game of failure, right? Even the best hitters fail more often than they succeed.
That's true. So learning how to bounce back from a strikeout or a bad game, that's crucial.
It's about building that resilience.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the expert coaching, the incredible facilities, the focus on physical and mental training. But at some point, these players need to get noticed, right? They need exposure to college recruiters and scouts.
That's right. And elite programs are really good at creating those opportunities. Well, they take their teams to like high-level showcases and tournaments, events where there are tons of scouts and recruiters watching.
So it's like a stage for these kids to show off their skills.
Yeah, exactly. And some programs even have direct connections to colleges or MLB teams, which can really help their players.
It's like a pipeline to the next level.
You could say that, yeah.
Can you give us some specific examples of these showcases or tournaments that are like really key for getting noticed?
Sure. One big one is the Elite Baseball Series, or EBS, in Southern California. It's invite only, so only the top high school players get to go.
So it's like the best of the best.
Yep. And their track record is amazing. They've had, get this, 280 players drafted by MLB teams.
Wow.
And 83% of their players end up playing college ball.
That's incredible. And are these like big name colleges?
Oh, yeah. You'll see scouts from schools like Arizona State, Dartmouth, St. Louis, all the big programs.
So if you're a talented player, getting into the EBS is a huge deal.
Huge. And there's also the Breakthrough Series, which is run by MLB and USA Baseball.
What's that one all about?
It's a multi-day camp for the Todd under-18 players. They get intense on-field training, but also like education on things like the recruiting process and mental health.
That's interesting. It's not just about baseball skills. They're preparing them for the whole journey.
Yeah, it's very holistic. And they also focus on, making sure players from all backgrounds have opportunities.
Like promoting diversity in the sport.
Exactly. They want to make sure everyone has a shot.
That's great. Now, beyond these events, how do elite programs help players navigate the whole college or professional placement process?
Well, they often provide a lot of support, like helping players create highlight videos, connecting them with college coaches, that sort of thing.
So they're almost acting like agents for these kids.
In a way, yeah. And some programs even have, formal partnerships with universities or MLB teams.
So it's like a direct pipeline to those organizations.
It can be, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the components of elite baseball development. Now let's get specific. Can you give us some examples of these programs in action?
Sure. We already mentioned Elite Baseball in Southern California. They're really focused on, those top high school players, getting them ready for the draft or college.
Right, their EBS showcase is huge.
Huge. And then there's Elite Baseball training in Chicago.
What's their specialty?
Well, their founder, Justin Stone, is a really well-respected hitting coach. They focus a lot on using technology to improve swing mechanics.
So a very data-driven approach.
Absolutely. And they have a lot of connections with the Chicago Cubs.
So players in that program might have a chance to get noticed by the Cubs.
It's definitely possible.
That's pretty cool. And we talked about MLB's Elite Development Invitational.
Right. That's their own initiative. They're really trying to, identify and develop talent from all communities.
To make the sport more inclusive.
That's a big part of it.
And finally, there's Team Elite, which is a national program.
Yep. They travel all over the country, competing in the top tournaments. They're known for both, player development and getting their guys seen by scouts.
So a well-rounded program.
You could say that.
So looking at all of this, what are the main benefits of going through an elite baseball development program?
I mean, first of all, you're going to get incredible coaching, specialized instruction that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
You're learning from the best of the best.
Exactly. And then there's the exposure, right?
Yeah.
You're playing in front of scouts, going to these big showcases. You're way more likely to get noticed.
It increases your chances of making it to the next level.
Big time. And beyond that, you're also learning a lot of life skills, discipline, teamwork, how to deal with pressure.
That's valuable no matter what you do in life.
Totally. And of course, the focus on physical training and injury prevention is huge.
Especially in a sport like baseball, where injuries are so common.
Right. It's about developing the right habits early on.
So, lots of benefits, but are there also some downsides or challenges that we should be aware of?
Well, yeah, there are a few things to consider.
Like what?
Well, first of all, it's expensive.
How expensive are we talking?
It can be thousands of dollars a year, easy.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, the training, the travel, the equipment, it all adds up.
So it might not be accessible to everyone.
That's the tough part. And then there's the time commitment. These programs are intense year-round. It can be hard to balance with school and other things.
So it's a big commitment for the whole family.
Yeah, and there's also the pressure. These kids are constantly being evaluated. They're always trying to improve.
It can be a lot to handle.
It can, yeah.
Okay, so some serious things to think about. Now, for a listener who's, maybe they have a kid who's showing a lot of promise in baseball and they're thinking, okay, maybe this elite path is for them. What advice would you give them? Where should they start?
Well, first, do your research. Find some reputable programs in your area, check their track record, see what colleges their players have gone to, that sort of thing.
So look for programs that have a proven track record of success.
Exactly. And then most programs have tryouts or evaluation camps.
So your kid can go and see if they're, a good fit for the program.
Yep. And there are also some great online resources, like EliteBaseballPerformance.com has a lot of good information.
Tips, drills, advice for players and parents.
Exactly. So there's a lot out there to help you make an informed decision.
Okay, so to wrap this all up, it seems like elite baseball development is all about giving talented players the best possible chance to succeed.
It is, yeah. It's about combining expert coaching, cutting-edge technology, and a whole lot of hard work.
It's a very comprehensive approach.
And it's not just about baseball skills. It's about developing character, learning how to handle pressure, and, preparing for life beyond the game.
That's a great point. And it makes me wonder, what other fields could benefit from this kind of approach?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, imagine if we had these kinds of elite development programs for, scientists or musicians or artists.
Could be pretty amazing.
It's really something to think about. Anyway, we've covered a lot of ground today. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.